The millionaire returned home at midnight and saw the unthinkable. The clock struck 12, casting an eerie shadow over the mansion. The moonlight flickered through the grand, arched windows, illuminating the darkened halls. He had just flown in from the bustling city, the lingering scent of jet fuel and first-class luxury clinging to his tailored suit. But as he stepped into his home, the opulence felt heavy, suffocatingly so. Something was off. A whisper of dread curled in his stomach, tightening like a vice. He could hear the wind howling outside, like it knew something he didn't. The ornate chandelier cast unsettling shapes against the walls, twisting shadows that seemed to dance in anticipation. With every step he took, the floor creaked underfoot, echoing in the silence. But then, a sound pierced the quiet, a distinct, dragging noise coming from the kitchen. A chill ran down his spine. Who else could be in his house at this hour? His heart raced. The sight before him was nothing short of horrific. There, in the stark light of the refrigerator, he found it a sight that would haunt him forever. A trail of dark red liquid snaked across the tiles, leading into the depths of the pantry. His mind whirled. Was it blood? The color looked too bright, too vivid under the fluorescence. But what else could it be? Panic fluttered in his chest, making it hard to breathe. Peering into the pantry, a lump formed in his throat. He could barely make out a figure curled up on the floor, shrouded in darkness, unmoving. "Hello?" he managed to choke out. The echo of his own voice startled him. There was no reply, only the overwhelming silence mixed with the rhythmic sound of his own heartbeat. What had happened here? Just as he took a step closer, he noticed something glinting on the ground, something small but threatening. His reflexes kicked in, and he bent down to inspect it. A sharp blade, stained at the edge, lay inches from the figure. His stomach twisted tighter. Who had invaded his sanctuary? And why? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, he raised his voice. Who's there? The tension in the air switched. It felt thick, alive. An answering groan seeped from the figure, sending his heart into overdrive. No, he whispered, realizing he might not want to see who it was. But he had to know. What were the odds that this was connected to the mysterious phone call he received earlier? As he took one trembling step closer, his mind raced with unanswered questions. The darkness shifted, the figure stirring slightly, a faint moan escaping their lips. It was a voice he recognized. His blood ran cold as the last shards of hope shattered. What had he come home to? The answers lurked just out of reach, like shadows in the distance, waiting for him to plunge deeper into the unknown. His breath hitched as he inched closer to the figure, tension electrifying the air. The dim light barely illuminated the contours of the person lying there. "Anna?" he gasped, recognizing her voice from the moan. Panic surged like a tidal wave, threatening to drown him. "Help," she whispered, her voice a mere breath against the icy silence. With a sudden jolt, reality crashed over him like a heavy weight. This was his assistant. She had been working late. Why was she here? What had happened? He dropped to his knees, his heart pounding against his ribcage, every instinct screaming for him to flee. But he couldn't abandon her. "What happened? Are you hurt?" His voice trembled, the words almost stuck in his throat. Anna moved slightly, her face barely catching the glow from the refrigerator. She was pale, her usually bright eyes clouded with pain and fear. A thin line of crimson traced down her arm, pooling against the tiles. "It's not what it looks like," she gasped, her breath ragged. I was trying to help," he echoed, his mind racing faster than his heart. "Who did this to you?" He reached for her arm, desperate to assess the wound. It was deep, agonizingly so. He quickly glanced around, hunting for anything useful, a kitchen towel, anything to apply pressure. The blade gleamed ominously nearby, and he recoiled slightly. "I didn't mean to," she stammered, tears shimmering in her eyes. "I was looking for you, have to believe me." Suddenly, there was a sudden noise from the back door. A sinister creak echoed through the stillness of the mansion, making the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. He froze. The last thing he needed was whoever had done this to her barging in. "Stay down," he instructed in a deadly calm voice, the animal instinct to protect kicking in. He quietly made his way towards the sound, each step a calculated risk. The echo of heartbeats filled the air, drowning out everything else. He peered into the dim hallway, but there was nothing. Just shadows that loomed ominously, welcoming the encroaching darkness. His hands tightened into fists, frustration and fear curling around him like a vice. The mansion was too quiet. Was the intruder already inside? "Please hurry," Anna's whisper broke through the stillness, yanking him back to her side. He turned, kneeling beside her, adrenaline pumping as he pressed against her wound, trying to stem the flow. "What did you mean you were trying to help?" he asked, desperation creeping into his voice. She winced but forced her gaze to him, determination flickering in her eyes. "The call, you need to know about the call. It wasn't random. They're coming for you." The weight of her words slammed into him, a punch to the gut. "Who were they? And why target him?" "What do you mean?" "I tried to block them. I thought," she paused, her breath labored. "I thought I could protect you." At that moment, shadows pooled around the doorway. He could hear footsteps shuffling, muffled voices just beyond his reach. His heart sank. Time was running out. Did he have the strength to confront the danger lurking in the dark? Suddenly, the door flung open, splintering the silence like glass shattering. Someone stood silhouetted against the faint light outside, a figure cloaked in darkness. Helplessness seized him. This was no longer just about protecting Anna. This had turned into a fight for survival. "Get away from her!" he shouted, every muscle in his body ready for a confrontation. But as he took a step forward, ready to fight against whatever horror awaited him, a chilling laugh echoed in the air. "Ah, it's too late for that. Let us see how far you'll go to save her." The voice twisted his insides, sending a surge of fear. Who were they? What were they after? The standoff loomed as shadows shifted, teasing the edge of his reality. With adrenaline fueling him, he knew he had to make a choice that could seal their fate. And just like that, the ominous laughter faded into the night, reverberating in the silence left behind. What price would he have to pay to uncover the truth before it was too late? The figure stepped forward, the dim light barely illuminating its features. A glint of malice flickered in the intruder's eyes as they surveyed the scene, Anna's crumpled body, the glistening blood pooling on the tiles. The air was thick with tension, a tangible weight pressing down against his chest. "Looks like someone had a little accident," the figure taunted, voice smooth, dripping with mockery. "Shut up!" he shouted, feeling a surge of protectiveness wash over him. "What do you want?" "Only what you owe us," the stranger replied, stepping closer. The shadows danced around them, a predator closing in on its prey. "What are you talking about?" He tried to keep his voice steady, but fear gnawed at him. He could feel Anna's weakened breaths beside him, each one punctuated by pain. "You're sick!" The figure chuckled, a chilling sound that sent shivers racing down his spine. "Sick? You think this is about morality? Leave us alone!" he shouted, desperation clawing at his throat. "You'll regret this." "Regret?" The figure tilted their head, a twisted smile spreading across their face. "I think you're the one who should be regretting things. You don't really know what you're dealing with, do you?" His mind scrambled for clarity. Why was this happening? They couldn't just hurt Anna and walk away. "Look!" He dropped beside Anna, locking eyes with her, assuring her with a soft grip on her hand. "Stay with me. Help is coming." But she looked up at him, fear and pain darkening her pale features. "You need to go, Don't let them take you, she whispered. He shook his head, refusing to let her slip away. I won't leave you. He could feel the panic rising in his throat, but he pushed it down. The figure was moving closer, their silhouette lurking like a nightmare come to life. Tick-tock, they said with a grin. Time's running out, sweetheart. Choose wisely. Do you save your precious little assistant, or do you save yourself? The ultimatum hung heavy in the air. It twisted his gut. Should he fight the monster and risk losing Anna? Or flee to find help, abandoning her in this grim moment? Get out! He shouted, adrenaline surging through his veins. I won't let you hurt her. Since you're so eager to play hero, I'll give you a chance, the figure said, stepping even closer, the gleam of a blade reflecting in the faint light. Find the truth behind the call, and maybe, just maybe, I'll let her live. What truth? What do you want? I don't just want the money you owe me. I want something far more valuable, the secrets you keep. Dig deep enough, and you might just save her. There was a brief pause, a heartbeat caught in the silence. He glanced at Anna, feeling the crushing weight of responsibility pressing painfully against him. Her eyes were pleading, desperate for him to make the right choice. Don't choose me, she gasped, tears streaming down her cheeks. Don't choose me. The figure leaned in closer, their voice a whisper, laced with venom. The clock is ticking. You have 24 hours. Good luck. And just like that, the shadows enveloped the figure, swallowing them whole as they retreated back into the depths of the mansion, laughter ringing in their wake. For a moment he felt frozen. The darkness around him seemed infinite, swallowing everything in doubt and despair. Could he really fight against this? Anna gasped, drawing him back to reality. Please, find the truth. We can't let them win. He looked around the kitchen, the world closing in. Every sound was amplified, the ticking of the clock, the hollow echo of footsteps, Anna's labored breathing. The sinister challenge loomed over him like a storm cloud. He knew he had to act fast, but first, he had to calm the storm in his own mind. What would it take to uncover the truth, to find the key to save them both? Suddenly, the weight of every decision crushed down on him like a boulder. Would he find a way out before time ran out, or would the darkness claim them both? The horrifying realization gnawed at him as he scoured the room for hints, desperate to piece together the puzzle before the dawn broke on an unthinkable tragedy. And in that very moment, a sound creaked from the old floorboards behind him. A whisper, a presence he couldn't identify, brought his heart to a standstill. Where do you think you're going? Could it already be too late? He spun around, heart racing. The shadows shifted, melding into a figure cloaked in darkness. Silent yet menacing. Every instinct screamed at him to flee, but his feet felt like lead, stuck in a nightmare beyond comprehension. Who are you? He managed to choke out, eyes darting for an escape route. What do you want? The figure stepped into the dim light, revealing a face marked by bitterness and resentment. A woman, young but hardened, with eyes that spoke of betrayal and loss. You've already forgotten me? She hissed. I thought we had a connection. Recognition hit him like a slap. It was her, the one he had thought had vanished from his life. Maggie, he whispered. What are you doing here? I came to collect, she said, voice smooth like honey but laced with venom. You owe me for everything you've taken. For every promise you broke. Behind him, Anna coughed, a pained sound that broke the fragile silence. Maggie's gaze shifted, momentarily distracted. You brought someone else into this? She sneered, an edge of cruelty in her words. It's not what you think, he said, stepping protectively in front of Anna. This is between you and me. Leave her out of it. Maggie laughed, a cold, sharp sound. Oh, sweetheart, you think you can shield her? You're about to find out how far I'm willing to go. Fear clenched his stomach tight. He could see the glint in her eyes, the anticipation of chaos. Don't do this, he pleaded, desperation creeping into his voice. You don't have to hurt anyone. Too late for mercy, she shot back, pulling a small vial from her pocket, the liquid inside swirling menacingly. What do you think this is? A potion to save your precious Anna? No. This is a test. If you care about her, you'll make the right choice. If not, well, let us just say I won't need this anymore. Stop! He shouted. You don't have to do this. Life is about choices. Yours will put her fate in your hands, she said, her voice dripping with malice. You want the truth? Fine. It's riddled with lies, but you can't claim to be innocent anymore. The people you've betrayed won't let you walk away. The weight of those words hit him like a punch. Betrayed? Secrets? Was this all connected? He glanced at Anna, her terrified eyes imploring him to think clearly. She was slipping away. Please, you can't hurt her. He took a shaky step closer to Maggie, hoping to reach out, appeal to any semblance of humanity left in her. What do you really want from me? Maggie's expression hardened. I want you to feel just a fraction of the pain you caused me. And I want you to remind yourself of the truth. Do that and she might just survive. He clenched his fists, the biting cold creeping in as time pressed mercilessly forward. Tell me what I need to know, he said, voice steadying as he tapped deep into his own resolve. Find the diary, she replied, confidence oozing from her. It holds everything that could either save you or condemn you. But be careful, the past bites back. A sickening feeling bubbled in his chest. The diary, a key to truth, was now a beacon drawing him into a web of secrets he wished to escape. He couldn't shake the thought that he was already too late, drowning in a sea of despair. What will you do with Anna? He demanded, unable to keep the tremor from his voice. Her smile was sinister, cutting through him like ice. That's up to you, hero. With that, she stepped back into the shadows, her laugh a haunting echo as she disappeared. Please, don't let them take me, Anna gasped, her voice barely above a whisper. He knelt beside her, feeling the urgency of the moment crushing him. I want tea, he promised, but inside a storm raged. The quest for answers loomed large. Find the diary, uncover the truth. Time was slipping away, and so was the last thread of hope. He pushed himself to his feet, looking back toward the darkness that had just swallowed Maggie. The clock was ticking, and every heartbeat felt like a countdown to disaster. What secrets lay waiting in the past, and how far was he willing to go to unravel them before it was too late? Every second felt heavy as he crouched beside Anna, her pale face illuminated only by the faint glow of the streetlight seeping through the tree branches. He could barely focus on her words, each raspy breath a reminder of how close they were to losing her. Please find it. Anna's eyes were red-rimmed and pleading. You have to promise me, you'll save me. Just hold on, he whispered, biting back fear that threatened to drown him. He scanned the area, the shadows around them felt like prison bars closing in. Where would Maggie keep the diary? Suddenly, a rustling sound erupted from the nearby bushes, causing both of them to jump. He turned, instincts flaring. A pair of eyes glimmered in the darkness, watching them. Who's there? He called, voice steadying despite his racing heart. Easy, no need to make a scene. A figure stepped into view, a man, tall and unshaven, wearing a dirty jacket that clung to his frame. His presence was a jarring juxtaposition against the urgency of their situation. I'm not here to hurt anyone. Then what do you want? He took a defensive stance, ready to protect Anna at all costs. Got some information about Maggie. Girl's not as in control as she thinks she is. The man smirked, but his eyes were serious. You want the diary? You'll need more than just guts to get it. Shut up and tell me, he snapped, anger boiling beneath his skin. Time was running out, and he couldn't afford delays. All right. The man raised his hands in mock surrender. Word is, she stashed it away at her old place, a rundown house on Maple Street. But be warned, buddy. That's not a solo mission. She's got people watching and they don't take kindly to intruders. People? He echoed, dread creeping into his bones. What kind of people? Her crew, the man whispered, glancing over his shoulder as if the shadows themselves could hear. You get too close, and they'll make sure you don't survive to regret it. Maggie's in a whole world of trouble, and she wants to drag you down with her. Uncertainty tangled with need in his chest. Indeed, he had a web of betrayals inked into the pages of his life, But saving Anna was all that mattered now. If I go, I can't go alone. I need help. Help's tricky when trust is as fragile as glass, the man warned, his tone shifting. But listen, if you truly want to pull this off, you may want to team up with someone who knows her. There's a girl, Jess. She was close to Maggie once. She might be willing to talk if the price is right. Where do I find her? Not far. She haunts the docks most nights. But don't say I didn't warn you. You can't flaunt her name without consequences. He hesitated. Time is ticking, champ, the man said, impatience creeping into his words. Either you go now and put your life on the line or you sit here playing it safe. Your call. He threw a glance at Anna, her frail body seeming to tremble against the cold. Whatever it took, he had to act. The door of possibility stood ajar, and fear clawed at his throat. Let us go, he said, already feeling the weight of the decision settle on his shoulders. We need to find this Jess before it's too late. With one last look at Anna, he steeled his resolve. The night swallowed him whole as he stepped into the unknown, the distant sound of water lapping against the dock foreshadowing danger ahead. Would he be strong enough to face what awaited him there, confront the ghosts of his past? Or would the hunt for a simple diary lead to deeper revelations that he wasn't prepared to confront? The clock was ticking. He navigated the twisting alleys that led to the docks, each step quickening as desperation surged within him. The salty air mixed with the scent of old wood and decay, an unwelcome reminder of the darkness lurking around every corner. It was hard to tell how much time had passed since Anna's plea echoed in his ears, but it felt like an eternity. The docks appeared before him, alive with faint shadows and the occasional flicker of a lamplight. In this place, secrets whispered between the creaking boats, and he could almost feel it in his bones. Danger was everywhere. He needed to find Jess, and fast he scanned the area, peering into the darkness. There were figures lounging around, some seemingly lost in their own worlds, others eyeing him with suspicion. The atmosphere felt charged, thick with tension, and he wondered if he was already too late. Then, he spotted her. Leaning against the weathered post was a girl with dark hair, tousled and wild, half hidden by shadow. She looked sharp and wary, exactly the kind of person who could survive in this harsh environment. But it was the glint in her eyes that caught his attention, something fierce, something haunted. Jess? He called, his voice barely rising above the sound of the waves against the dock. She straightened, her gaze locking onto him like a bullet. You looking for trouble? Her tone dripped with sass, but the warning was evident. Not trouble, not yet, he replied, keeping his own tones steady. I need information about Maggie and that diary. A smile twisted across her lips, but it didn't reach her eyes. Everyone in this town wants something from Maggie. What makes you think you're any different? Because I'm doing this for Anna, he pressed, urgency clawing at his chest. She doesn't have much time. If you know anything, please can we talk? Jess shifted, crossing her arms as if weighing his sincerity. The shadows danced at her feet, and for a brief moment, he saw something flicker in her expression, a mix of recognition and regret. Fine. But talk is cheap around here. What are you willing to give me? Anything. Just tell me where to find her, he insisted, the desperation seeping through his calm facade. Anything, huh? She mused, tilting her head. You really have no idea what you're getting into, do you? Maggie's crew is loyal, and they don't take kindly to interlopers. You might end up dead, and for what? She paused, her brow furrowed in thought. I want one of her contacts. Someone who'd spill secrets. You bring me that, and I'll tell you what I know about the diary. Deal, he replied quickly, though a jolt of uncertainty buzzed through him. He wasn't sure what power this contact held, but facing Maggie's crew felt like stepping into a lion's den. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. There's a meet tonight at the old warehouse on 7th. But it's risky. Maggie's people will be all over that place. It'll take guts to walk out of there with what you need. He swallowed hard, the weight of her warning hanging in the air. The old warehouse, the very thought sent chills down his spine. I'll do it, he declared, determination flooding his veins. He would face whatever waited for him there, Anna's life hung in the balance. Good luck, she replied, an odd mix of sarcasm and earnestness. You'll need it. As he turned to leave, a sense of foreboding twisted in his gut. The clock was winding down, and each tick felt like a countdown to catastrophe. The darkness of the warehouse loomed ahead, and the stakes piled higher with every step he took. But as he moved toward the unknown, a thought struck him hard. What if the secrets he uncovered not only changed Anna's fate but also shattered his entire world? The shadows closed in around him, thick and foreboding. Would he find the truth or unleash a nightmare he couldn't escape from? He took a deep breath and pressed on, his heart racing against the finality of the approaching night. The warehouse loomed like a grave marker against the night sky, an ominous silhouette that sent shivers down his spine. Each step felt heavier as he approached the entrance, the damp ground sucking at his shoes like an anchor pulling him under. He could hear the distant sounds of laughter mixed with shouting, a foreign language of the city that thrived in darkness. This wasn't just a meeting, it was a battleground, and he was walking straight into the heart of it. He peered through the cracked window, trying to gauge the situation inside. Shadows moved about, obscured forms laced with tension and electricity. Then he saw them, the unmistakable jagged tattoos, the way they held themselves, cocky and careless, like they owned the night. Maggie's crew. This was worse than he had imagined. His heart pounded as he mentally replayed Jess's words. Guts. That's what he needed. But would gut instinct be enough? As he shifted his weight from foot to foot, a sharp noise caught his attention, snapping his focus back to the unfolding scene ahead. Inside, two men stood facing off, voices raised. One of them, a stocky figure with a shaven head, slammed his fist on the table. You're either with us or against us. He spat the words like venom, and the tension grew thicker, almost palpable. He took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of courage he had. This was it. He'd find the contact Jess wanted, or he'd find himself part of the very secrets he sought to uncover. Creeping to the side entrance, he slipped in, the heavy damp air wrapping around him like a shroud. Instinctively he pressed against the wall, heart racing as whispers and laughter intertwined in a cacophony of sounds. He scanned the room, looking for a figure that might stand out in this crowd. Suddenly, a laugh erupted from across the room, high-pitched and mocking, slicing through the tension like a hot knife. There she was. A woman, striking with fiery red hair, her demeanor clearly authoritative. She held the room's attention effortlessly, eyes dancing with mischief as she spoke. Last chance to walk away, boys? You're not ready for this game. It was Maggie. His heart sank. As if a spider had threaded its web, he felt trapped in her gaze. He needed to move quickly, but his legs felt glued to the floor. He watched her lean in closer to the stocky man, her expression sharpening, lips curling into a predatory smile. The kind that promised pain. Then she raised a glass, and for a fleeting moment, a flash of turmoil washed over her. Just as fast, it was gone, replaced by a facade of confidence. But he knew what he saw, a flicker of uncertainty. Perhaps there was more to this woman than the monster everyone feared. He finished scanning the room, searching for someone he could approach. A figure in the corner caught his eye, an older man, face scarred with age and experience. There was a sense of familiarity in the way he held himself. Maybe, just maybe, he could get the information Jess needed. Steeling his nerves, he inched closer. The closer he got, the more he could feel the weight of watchful eyes. Whispered warnings grazed his ears, and a knot formed in his gut. Was he about to cross a line he couldn't uncross? Hey! A sharp voice pierced the air behind him. Panic clawed at his throat. You lost, buddy? He turned, facing the stocky man from earlier. The bulk of him blocked the dim light from the room, casting a long shadow over him. There was something wicked in his smile, and it made his blood run cold. No, he replied, trying to sound more confident than he felt. Just looking to join the party. The man laughed, a low rumble echoing through the tension-laden air. Well, the party got a bit exclusive, so it might not be your type of scene. He could feel the sweat accumulating on his brow, heart thumping like a drum. The danger pressed in closer, like a vice tightening around him. The crowd was shifting, and the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. What choice did he have now? He took a deep breath, ready to unleash the only remaining weapon in his sparse arsenal, desperation. But at that moment he heard a crash from the back of the warehouse, a sound so loud it jolted everyone into alertness. Fear danced in the air like smoke. "Get down!" someone screamed, but there was no time for thoughts. He needed to act now. Was this opportunity for escape, or a trap he had unwittingly walked into? The room exploded into chaos, and as bodies lunged, he was swept into the turmoil. What awaited him in the confusion, hope or doom? The night was far from over. The room erupted into a frenzy. Bodies pushed and shoved, desperate to escape whatever threat loomed in the shadows. He felt himself being propelled forward as the crowd reacted like a wave, surging toward the only exit. Panic clawed at his chest. The air was thick with fear, and the acrid smell of sweat and desperation filled his lungs. As he stumbled, he caught a glimpse of Maggie, her confident facade shattered. The fiery red hair that had once seemed mesmerizing was now a fiery banner of chaos. She was yelling, directing her crew, but the authoritative tone was gone. Instead, there was urgency, something primal in her eyes that hinted she too was unsure of what was coming next. "Stay together," she shouted, her voice slicing through the noise. But that cry was quickly drowned out by another bang from the back of the warehouse, and the sound was closer this time, more visceral, ringing like a shot, a warning or a shot? He couldn't tell. Heart racing, he clutched the edge of a nearby table for support. The older man he had noticed earlier appeared in his line of sight, his face now illuminated by the flickering overhead lights. He was no longer a distant figure but now a person with a desperate look. "Grab something," the older man shouted, pointing toward a stack of crates. "We need to defend ourselves." Without thinking, he dove toward the crates. His fingers grazed rough wood as he frantically searched for anything resembling a weapon. He felt the vibration of the crowd's tension, the air pulsing with fear-drenched adrenaline. Just as he found a heavy pipe, he heard a scream pierce the chaos, sharp, raw, filled with terror. He spun around, scanning the room. Crouched low to avoid getting trampled, he saw one of Maggie's crew sprawled on the ground, clutching his leg, blood pooling beneath him. The stocky man was near the entrance, pounding his fists on the doorframe, issuing commands that no one could hear over the panic. "Get them out! Now!" The man's face twisted with anger and fear, ice-cold malevolence behind his eyes. Suddenly, a blinding flash burst through the gloom, followed by the sound of metal clashing. A figure rushed past him, and the crowd parted like water as fear propelled them away. It was then he saw it. Out of the chaos emerged a masked assailant, weapon drawn, a glinting knife that danced under the warehouse lights like a serpent ready to strike. He barely had time to react. Adrenaline surged as he gripped the pipe tighter, the cold steel biting into his palm. He had to do something, anything to stop this. The warehouse felt alive, buzzing with chaos, yet strangely still at that moment. Maggie rushed back into view, her earlier confidence replaced by stark reality. She met his eyes, and for a fleeting moment, questions flickered between them. Was she more than what she portrayed? Did she even care to survive? He sprang into action, yelling, "Stay back!" as he rushed toward the chaos. He had no idea what awaited him, but then, did he ever? With every instinct ignited, he lunged at the assailant, the world narrowing down to just him and that knife. The next second could end everything or change it forever. Would he be able to confront the terror, or would the night swallow him whole? The chaos promised unpredictability, and the stakes were higher than he had ever imagined. What unseen truths would emerge from the depths of this darkness? His heart pounded like a drum as he lunged forward, the pipe swinging with force. The masked figure shifted, eyes narrowed, assessing him like prey. With a cold grin, the assailant thrust the knife forward, the blade gleaming dangerously. Time slowed, the chaos around them fading into a blur, each breath feeling heavy with the weight of fear. The crowd was a distant murmur now. Just inches away, he felt the rush of wind from the assailant's movements. He ducked low, narrowly avoiding the swipe that would have carved into him. Fueled by desperation, he swung the pipe, catching the assailant's arm. The knife clattered to the ground, a metallic ring that echoed in the tension-filled air. But the figure wasn't down yet. The masked attacker turned, fury igniting in his eyes. Without the blade, he advanced, fists clenched, muscles coiling like a spring ready to snap. He barely had time to react. Instinct kicked in as he swung again, his makeshift weapon colliding with the attacker's midsection. The impact sent shockwaves through him. The assailant stumbled back, grumbling a curse. As he prepared to swing for a third time, a wild scream erupted from the crowd. "Maggie!" He spun around, catching sight of her grappling with another member of the crew, the tension vibrating between them. One moment they were on the same side, the next, suspicion twisted their alliance into chaos. "Maggie, look out!" he yelled, his voice strained. She barely turned in time as a hand lunged for her throat. He lunged toward her. The next second felt surreal. He was airborne. The attacker had shifted and charged, sending him crashing into a nearby table. Pain shot through him, sharp and immediate. He rolled onto his side, gasping, eyes darting around the chaos. Bodies were scrambling, and the stench of sweat filled his nostrils. "Maggie!" he called again, panic swelling as he staggered to his feet. She was fighting back, wild determination in her eyes. With a burst of energy, he forced himself to run, weaving through the crowd. The sense of dread was overwhelming. He could feel the eyes of the terrified throng on him. Would they see him as a hero or just another victim? As he neared Maggie, the reality of the moment hit him. What if this turned into something worse? What if they couldn't get out? The warehouse felt inescapable, an inky void swallowing hope. He reached her, breathing hard, adrenaline flooding through him. "We need to move," he panted, glancing around wildly. The masked figure was back on his feet, determination burning brighter than before. "Get the others!" Maggie shouted, steely resolve etched into her face. "Where?" His voice cracked with fear. The exit was blocked, and confusion bade them both to combat the chaos. Then, the lights blinked once, flickering ominously overhead. The power surged and faltered, plunging the space into near darkness. A deep rumble echoed from the rear of the warehouse, vibrations rattling against his bones. "What was that?" Maggie's voice trembled. Alarmed whispers rolled through the crowd as tension mounted. The situation was spiraling, something else lurking beneath the surface. Maggie's eyes darted to him, fierce and searching. "We can't stay here, we have to find another way. Follow me." With no time for debate, he grabbed her hand, the warmth of it grounding him as they raced toward a side door. Every second felt like a decision. Would they escape? Would they make it out alive? But from somewhere deep within, a dreadful realization settled like a stone in his gut. This wasn't just an attack. There was something more sinister at play. Could they truly trust the people around them? Just as they reached the door, a series of shouts erupted from the crowd, split between defiance and despair. "Help! It's not just us!" His stomach plummeted. Just as they turned the knob, a group of masked figures surged from the shadows, a storm of danger closing in around them. Maggie's grip tightened, squeezing his hand like a lifeline. "Run! Now!" But as the door swung open, revealing the unknown, a voice called out from the darkness. "Stop right there!" Had they just stepped into another layer of hell? What awaited them beyond the threshold? He stood frozen, body tense, as he battled the instinct to flee. The voice cut through the chaos, demand ringing with authority. A moment of stillness enveloped them, thick and heavy, like a blanket stifling their breath. "Let her go!" It was a demand sharp and unwavering. The figure stood there, masked but tall, a presence that commanded attention, sending chills racing down his spine. The warehouse felt as though it held its breath. All eyes were drawn to the assailant, the masked attacker ready to pounce, and the surge of anger radiating from Maggie. "Who even are you?" she spat, defiance spilling out of every syllable. "I'm the one who decides who leaves," the figure replied, voice steady, a strange familiarity lurking beneath the surface. He leaned closer, trying to pierce the mask of shadows cloaking this new threat. There was something unsettlingly familiar in that tone. Listen, we don't have time for this, he snapped, desperation clawing at his throat. People are dying. The masked figure hesitated, eyes narrowing, revealing only a flicker of emotion. And you think running through that door will save you? You don't know what waits outside. The words hung in the air, pregnant with implication. The chaos in the warehouse shrank into the background, forming a tunnel to what mattered most: Anna's life. The crushing weight of responsibility settled on his shoulders, a tangible thing threatening to suffocate him. He couldn't let fear drive his decisions. He had to act for her. Get out of our way! He shouted again, feeling the adrenaline tease at the edge of panic. We need to find Anna. Annabelle, isn't it? The figure tilted their head, voice draped in a mockery of concern. I can help you. But first, you need to understand, trust is a rare currency these days. Something shivered through him at the mention of Anna's name, a gut instinct flaring. What do you know about her? His voice dropped to a whisper, desperation curling tighter around every syllable. Her pause spoke volumes, the briefest flicker of hesitation crackling in the tension. More than you think. He glanced at Maggie, her expression echoing his inward turmoil. Was this another trap, or a glimmer of salvation hanging just out of reach? Maggie, he started, uncertainty painting his words. What do you think we should do? They're just trying to play us. She stepped closer, determination flooding her voice. Fear simmered beneath the surface, exposing the cracks in her facade. We don't have time to waste. No, the figure interjected, a coolness wrapping around their words. Timing is everything. Would you risk everything for a mere promise? A groan shook through the crowd, and he turned just in time to see the masked assailant springing forward, chaos erupting once more. The figure had begun to laugh now, a sound that chilled him to his very core. Enough of this game, he shouted, the tension boiling over. I'm done making choices under threat. If you wish to stop us, do it now. The words echoed with challenge. His instincts fired like bullets, and he charged, propelled by raw urgency. Time felt utterly suspended, swirling around him. The masked figure hesitated, a flicker of understanding crossing their features, recognition. You really don't want to do this, they said, voice strained, almost pleading. You don't know what I'm capable of. Adrenaline urged him forward, and he swung, catching the figure off guard, their guard dropping momentarily. With a low grunt, the masked assailant faltered, revealing decreased panic in their eyes. Maggie seized the moment, grappling for a weapon, moving with determination fueled by desperation. Now! She shouted, her fierce spirit igniting. They rushed for the side door, the air thick with desperation and the scent of chaos. Suddenly, more masked figures poured into the warehouse, and panic ignited again, the cacophony of screams fracturing their resolve. He caught sight of the door, salvation beckoning, but would it lead to safety or doom? This way! He shouted, seeking out the glimmers of hope. The crew erupted into chaos, each in a frenzy. To break free, windows shattered, screams burst forth, and in that moment, escape felt both close and infinitely distant. Let us go! He shouted again, determination rising. With Maggie at his side and the pathway ahead clouded in uncertainty, they bolted for the door, propelled by the instinct to survive, hearts thundering in unison. Each moment felt stretched, drawn out like taffy, the chaos behind them blending into a blur. Would they truly escape? Would they uncover the truth? The shadows chased closer, but ahead was a dawn they believed would break, perhaps illuminating the path toward Anna, toward revelation. And as they fled, the cries of mayhem trailing behind them, they surged forward into the unknown, a step toward clarity, or deeper into darkness. Finally bursting through the door, the air outside was cold yet liberating. The night wrapped around them, breathless. Where is she? He gasped, scanning the shadows for answers. She's by the docks, that way, Maggie pointed, urgency underlining every word. We need to move. Together they raced into the night, propelled by hope, driven by desperation, and united by an unbreakable connection. With every heartbeat echoing between them, they carved their path through the darkness. And with that, the clock ticked on their ultimate choice, waiting in the wings of destiny. Whatever lay ahead, it would test them, forcing the truth into the light. The stakes were higher than ever before, but hope was a powerful ally. They just had to believe, now more than ever. Everyone deserves a second chance. But time was running out before they could disappear into the night. A chilling voice echoed back toward them, swallowing hope in its wake. You think this is over? The game has just begun. As they ran, the weight of those words hung in the air, a promise that this battle was far from finished. Now the fate of Anna, the past they had hidden, everything hung in the balance of what they defined next. And they would uncover the truth, whatever it cost them. What revelations would they stumble upon in their quest? But first, now is your moment to make a pledge. You need to subscribe now for exclusive stories that evolve with every tick of the clock. Don't wait even one more second to share this thrilling conclusion with friends who need to experience the adrenaline rush. Smash the like button now. It's your chance to feed the algorithm, helping guide stories like this to those waiting in suspense. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories. What would you do in this perilous choice? Your voice matters. So take immediate action, show your support. The journey is far from over.